I can hear it now. Fans take the field, and out of that eastern tunnel pour 215 well-drilled, well-disciplined Michigan bandsmen. They pour over the eastern sideline, they pour in the big block in, and they play the greatest college fight song ever written.
Back to back to back. AAU National Championships, Tom Mansky baseball skills video. That's you remember that? Hey, Seth.
Oh yeah.
Well,
oh yeah.
good
Man,
morning to you.
Were you ever on my baseball? I think you were on my brother's baseball team one year, right?
I think so.
But we never overlapped.
No, my claim to fame in baseball is my coach was telling me in Little League that I needed to practice bunting in practice, and I was like, I hit for power, coach. So I put the bunt out and I took a swing at it and hit it like 2/3 of the way to the outfield, and he wasn't very happy with me. I was kind of a troublemaker.
I hit a towering home run and they called it foul. I'm still mad about that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know who that ump was, but we got to look him up. We got to figure it out. But that was as expected, I guess.
Hello, Big Ten champion.
Hello.
I mean, Iowa's offense is so terrible. I just finished doing the UFR charting. I still have to write it up, so it won't be out till tomorrow. I think I'm going to publish this Wednesday, so tomorrow, Thursday. But oh my God, their offense is terrible. But their defense is amazing.
Yeah,
and they do some things that make it really hard. And I kind of want to get into that a little bit. I wanted to show you what Iowa does to give you different looks, how Michigan was just kind of taking what they could get instead of going for too much, and just why it feels like a slog against Iowa when it necessarily shouldn't be. Does that sound cool?
Well, that's good. While you're pulling that up, sometimes people can think buying a house can be very difficult. It's a painstaking process. You're going to have to do a ton of work, mortgages, hey, it's not going to close, all that. I try to make it simple. Got a 99% pull-through rate for pre-approval to closing, so you're not going to get denied. Check out realtorandlender.com. Realtorandlender.com. I'll help you out, whether it's buying, selling, financing a house, anything like that. That's how we do this show. So Seth, let's take a look at what you got. Boring game, but nice to have a boring game.
I want you to be. That's fine, man. Matt, I want you to be a fan here. Okay, I just take away your analytical brain. Be a fan for a second. Watch this play and tell me where you want the ball to go. All right, we get a little motion. All right, fan. Where should the ball be going?
Ooh, all right. So not where it's going, because you're not going to get much right there. So for me, I see up top. I mean, I always want the ball to go deep. that's just me.
All right, so you're going out here. So you see this flood concept on this side.
I see the flood, but I mean, I also, if I'm watching this live, I'm always kind of wear the black jerseys. There's nothing over on the 45-yard line on the hash at all. Nothing.
So that's how fans watch this. And fans will go and see this and be like, oh, hit the, you got it 1-on-1 deep, go that way. Or like, you got Edwards over here, how come you're not going that way? And I need to explain something. The way that we see the game as fans is not at all how the game is played. So when we're looking at these things, and you see this all the time, how come you didn't go to Edwards? How come you didn't do this thing? And then it got into like the conversation when I did Next Sharpies this week. I talked about how come Edwards is not a higher priority? But that's not what we're doing here. Iowa runs different coverage. They run cover 2 very well. They run cover 3 very well. They run man very well. And they can switch those up, and they can have little tags on all of them. And they're also really good at disguising their coverages. So Michigan went extra to try to figure out where the holes were in their coverage. And they were not going for big holes. They were not going to take big shots. All they were looking for is a crack. Because if you give J.J. McCarthy a crack, he can read one guy and fit the ball in there. And that was the strategy in this game. So you get some motion on the top here. All right? And you watch J.J.'s eyes. He sees the motion. Okay? And he's watching out here. He's watching this guy here. See that? Eyes. Yep. Backside. Wants to see if this guy's going to come down, if this guy's going to come in here. This guy over here, staying high, is betraying the coverage. It's going to be some sort of cover 3, because you're going to have him dropping deep, not dropping into a zone in here. That means you're going to have a curl. That means you're going to have this guy probably rolling down over here. He's watching that. He sees this safety go. That means the coverage is rolling to this side. Now, it does end up open, right? We do end up getting Edwards open on that side, but he's not thinking that. All he's thinking is the coverage. See him going deep? That was the safety on this side. He's rolling deep. Coverage is shifting to that side. That means I'm going to have cover 3 on this side, which means I'm going to have some space to throw it right in here. He looks over here. He's staying high. He's staying in. I've got some space. I've got an arm. Zips it in. Easy 6 yards, right?
Well, and if you go back to the first frame, I mean, the one benefit we have is we can see the field. You know, it's a quarterback's looking for the first possibility of a completion, and then going to 2, then going to 3. But if number 1's open, you're going to number 1. I mean, if
exactly,
you know,
exactly,
you're not looking the other way. You can't see, you know, the entire width of the field like we can. So as fans, we get frustrated sometimes, but that's a good read. I mean, we got what we wanted.
Yeah, exactly. So here's another one, another short pass. And this one annoyed us too, because when you watch this thing, all right, so you get the motion ahead of time, but when we watch this, as a fan, you're like, oh man. You see, look at this. You got a linebacker here against Roman Wilson, and this is kind of what we've been saying, and this is, you see this cover 3 again, right? So you have him dropping down, him dropping up. Okay, so that means he's going to be the over the top, and then whoever's carrying him underneath is the hole. And if you have this route going out here, I mean, that safety probably has no shot. All you have to do is read him. Okay, so you're going to see if he's dropping into that, and if he's not. But McCarthy wants to go fast. The idea is you're getting them to betray their coverage by getting that motion ahead of time. So first we move the running back. He's like, hey, get down here. I need your help. JJ sees it. We're going to motion over here. He sees him coming in. Gotcha. Cover 3. He's going high. He's coming down. That means the coverage is rolled this way. That means I'm going to have a high-low on him. He's high. He sees his hips right there. He sees he's right there. I've got this space. Take what they give you. First down.
Yeah, I mean, you're limiting the mistake by running the offense the way it's designed to be run. Obviously, you're hoping that against Alabama, I feel like we're going to need some deep shots, but that's where that deep shot becomes the primary target on the route. You know, so
exactly, and that's, I mean, this helps you because what happens is Iowa's going to confuse their coverages, right? So here you have some sim pressures. Now we're in the second quarter. Iowa's trying to get a little more goofy with it. They're still going to go up to cover 3. Okay, you still got this guy high. You get that motion ahead of time. He's watching to see what happens. And you see these guys kind of like, attacking the wings. You see him coming down over here. That would usually, if that safety rolls down on this side, that means he's going to be rolling down. You're going to cover 3. It means they're rolling the coverage this way. It means this guy's probably coming, or you're getting pressure from over here or something like that, right? It doesn't matter exactly who gets those coverages. But the idea is you got that look now. You know where you're going, and you know you're going to have space underneath here. And that's exactly where he goes. See, he's got, boom. And he's watching this guy over here. This guy sees Roman Wilson coming across him, and he's like, uh-oh. He stops. And that gives you all this space out here because he's playing a deep cover 3. So this helps you against Iowa. This is moving the ball against Iowa, and this is something that people are getting annoyed by as we were watching this game. But, I mean, he's really good at this. Now, here's a 4th and 7, right? Now, they're going to confuse coverages, but here, this guy rolls down again, right? That means you're probably getting pressure off of this side because he's replacing him down here. It means he's going to roll up high. It means you're going to have space right in here, right? He actually drops. He moves in with his eyes. And you can just, he doesn't need that much space, see?
Well, how
as
much
long
of this
as you get that look.
How much of this too, Seth, do you think is the pass protection on the outsides has not been stellar since Penn State obviously was Zinter out. They're getting more pressure around the outside. How much of this is JJ saying, "Hey, got my first read, it's open, I'm firing"? Is that also part of it?
I think it's that. It's also that the longer you go against Iowa, the more confusing they get, and they're very good at getting in their coverages. It's very hard to get them to leave what they're supposed to be doing. So if you get a fast read against Iowa, that's the way to attack them. So this is a very Iowa-specific approach because if you can get that coverage look, because they have to move when you put your guys in motion, right? You start moving two guys around, and that's going to tell you things about their alignment and what they're going to do initially, and then you know you're going to have that spot. And if you have J.J. McCarthy and you can get the ball in there, you might as well take it. So here's another one where you get motion, shows you something, and like you said, protection's breaking down. So,
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be an issue against Alabama, too. You're going to want to get these quick shots because you don't want your protection to have to last too long. And that's why, you got Edwards over here again. Look, these dump offs to Edwards, people are like, why are we not throwing it? Or you got, a safety back over here, but how come you're not throwing that? But he's got this snag route, and that's all he has to do. He sees the coverage ahead of time, so he knows if this guy's down, this is my space, and I've got space to throw it in here. And I actually drew this one up for you because I just want you to see kind of how he's looking at this and what the motion's revealing. So we get this motion over here, right? You get Johnson kind of moving inside here, and this is the reaction. So when you get that reaction, that's telling you this is going to be cover 2. Remember, we were looking at cover 3 before, and cover 3 has this spot covered. You got a curl flat guy because he rolls up here. But when you see both these guys kind of going back, right, this is telling me we're in some sort of cover 2, which means you're going to have this little hole shot open for the snag. Okay, he gives them a little sim pressure over here. They point at him. They're like, look out for him. But it doesn't matter. You're not really reading that side. All you're reading is you've got this space over here. You got cover 2. You're going to have this snag combo right here. It's only 3rd and 4. You need to get 4 yards. So wherever that guy goes, it doesn't really matter what you're running on the backside. Now, if you get it wrong, you always have one of these extra guys you can read on the backside that you can get to. And we'll get to that in a second.
Well, and part of the reason that we're not going to the check down to Edwards more in this game is the first option is almost always open. And so, if your first option's open, your check down might be your 3rd read in this,
right.
and,
Or
an
5th.
outlet at 5th read, and, depending. And so in this case, if you're going to dump the ball off, it's not first. Now, you can counter that because if they think, hey, they never go there, you can start making that your first read on these plays if it clears out right. But again, against Iowa, we were getting what we wanted. JJ did a great job of reading the defense, and it kind of turned the rushing game into the short passing game a little bit. And if you're hitting those at a 70-80% clip, even if you're only getting 5 or 6 yards, that's 5 or 6 yards 80% of the time. You're getting first downs and you're winning the game.
Yeah, totally. You completely just set me up for where I was going with this, because now we're in the second quarter. I just showed you that play right before, right? This is going to get the same coverage on basically the same route combo. So this is the second quarter, and then Iowa is going to just make this more difficult, right? Like you said, they can cover things a little tighter. They can kind of see what you're doing and where your reads are. And that's what the defense is going to do. They're going to try to take away those first, second, third reads because they want to. The longer you're back there reading, the more chance they have of getting the pressure home. So if you're not going to your 5th read, and they know who your 5th read is going to be, they'll leave that one open. But they'll make sure that the other ones are covered. And the way they can do that is they have to kind of disguise that coverage so you don't get that look. So here we are, second quarter. We've been playing these games all day already. First quarter, we're just hitting them in the flats, right? And just getting all those easy yards underneath them. Now they're showing us sim pressures. So we've got. So I can go back here again. We motion him in. What reaction do we get? Instead of seeing the safeties giving us something, they might be giving us a little bit of something, but what we're really seeing is this nickel kind of, coming in, scaring us. You see that, takes your eyes off of what you're looking at. You don't get a coverage read. Okay, your second motion is going to be right before the snap. He comes back out again. And he was watching this guy this whole time because he thought he was, he gave him that sim pressure. It looked like he was blitzing. Instead, he's dropping back. JJ's staying on him forever. Now, what they want is a similar kind of package. They've added a tag to this. They want to actually hit him underneath. They want to hit Loveland, who's going to run a dig over here. And he's watching this to see if these guys will kind of clear out and give him space for that dig. And if not, you have a shot over the top. But they want this dig route here. He looks back at the dig. and it's taken away. They've been dropping guys this whole time into it. Now you're right. We should come back down to Edwards at this point because these guys have dropped way back. That's what they've taken away. But he's already moved on. He's looking over to this side. And remember how I said you kind of have a crossing route, like an extra. They like to have an extra route that you can go to just as an escape. His escape is over here. It's not Edwards. Wish it was Edwards because of all this space.
Yeah.
But normally you're going to factor in that defenses overreact to Edwards are going to take that away from you. And so that's what the plan is. So as soon as he doesn't have it, he turns around, and then you get a comeback route over here. And, if they don't give Trente Jones a crap flag, you're actually going to get it. So here is that first play, right? And they're reading that snag package back here. So this play is very similar play. This is one we just watched. Okay, you motion him in, and this is the look you get. You don't really see these guys moving over. You see this. These safeties are telling you something. They're telling you what they're going to give you, but he's not really watching that because he's watching this nickel over here. So that sim pressure kind of screws with the read, and then we motion in. They motion up. What we're trying to do is we're just adding this. So it was almost just like that snag package before. You're hitting that same space, right? But the idea is you're going to have this, this high-low read here, right? Which is what we've run all year. We love a fast receiver, having one go high, and then bringing a tight end across. That's what Michigan loves, and that's what they're trying to read out. But they're going to take that away from you, and you didn't see it. You didn't notice that what the coverage is because they got that sim pressure. And Iowa's just so good at giving you those weird looks, and you really do have to kind of be ready to come back to your, I color coded these. So read 1, read 2, read 3, read 4, right? And he ends up over here and throwing a comeback because it broke down. But you don't really have time to get to your last read, and that was what they left open.
So as a fan, one of the things I watched in this game is, we went on 4th and 7, then we had that 4th and 1. But I guess on that 4th and 1 on that drive, you're looking at it saying, well, do we want to just win the game right here with a field goal? And
well, the 4th and 7 was going to be like a 53-yard field goal.
Yeah, you're kind of in no man's land.
Yeah. So on the 36-yard line, you kind of have to. It's a go for it either way because most likely if you punt, you're going to put them on the 20, right? And that 15 yards and a turnover might as well throw an interception. Right? What's the difference? It's not going to do you very much. And 3 points against Iowa is going to be the winning margin.
Yeah.
So if you get a chance,
0.1 points against Iowa. All we needed was even the safety would have done it.
Right. I'm surprised they didn't kick it on first down. As soon as they get down there, just like, all right, field goal range. Let's kick the winning points right here. But that is a very Iowa-centric. Now, you're right. Alabama's got great cornerbacks. They're going to need to have a better plan. And I think what the better plan is going to be is finding ways to use Edwards against their linebackers. I don't think their linebackers are particularly good. I think linebacker is one of those positions that's hard to recruit for. And that makes Alabama not the best at it. Because cornerback, you can just, they get the best 2 5-stars every year, right? And they pay whatever it costs, and they get those guys. So it's going to be very difficult to get any room against them in coverage. You saw those windows. You have those windows against Iowa because the athleticism is just not there. They're very sound. They can disguise their coverages. That's how Iowa's going to get you and make it hard for you to move downfield. And because it's so hard to pass downfield on them, because they're going to, the longer you wait, the more they're going to mess with you and create opportunities for interceptions. You just want to pick at them underneath. Alabama, you're right. You're going to have to get those downfield shots more. But the way that you can get those small yards is you're going to have to change up the order of things. Michigan has been very easy to pick what they're going to do. And sometimes you can't beat it because it's just like, okay, you got Colston Loveland in the flat. You don't need a whole lot of space. And JJ can get that in there. It doesn't need a whole lot of room. But yeah, against Alabama, you're going to have to use your athletes more. You're going to have to change up the order of your reads. They're going to have to practice a lot of new things with JJ. I think that he's capable of it. We've seen him do it against other teams, but Michigan's been giving him pretty easy reads this year. And that's been kind of the whole system, is to give him easy reads, and that's why his completion percentage is off the charts. Alabama's not going to do that for you. They're going to be in the switch coverages. They're going to have athletes that can control your athletes all the time. And, sometimes you're going to have to throw these passes that are just like my guy beats your guy. And the one spot I think we can really hit them is Edwards versus the linebackers.
Yeah, and I was watching the game from a fan's perspective versus I guess there's two perspectives on football. We haven't had the chunk plays. We haven't had the 30 yards or bust type offense this year that a lot of people love watching. A 50-yard touchdown is fun to watch. Bombs are fun to watch. Getting 400 yards is fun, but putting the ball in the end zone and being efficient and chewing up the clock is sort of the Harbaugh way. And last year was a bit of an anomaly in some ways.
I wouldn't say that. I would disagree with that, actually. I think that Michigan's been trying to get their explosives, and they just haven't gotten them. What they want to do is get explosives in the run game. So what they want to do is get you to bring your safeties down. Right. They want to block your safeties. They want to get more people on the line of scrimmage. They want to get you to try to jam them up and get those like Edwards runs against Ohio State. What they want you to do is commit so much to the front that if your safety gets blocked by a receiver, he's done. The difference this year, the running backs have not really taken those opportunities when they had them. Blake Corum got one against Ohio State. Those are the explosives that Michigan has in their offense, but they've not been able to capitalize. They've missed a couple of those cuts. They just haven't seen them sometimes, and then the receivers are just not the blockers they were. I think we really missed Ronnie Bell on the outside. I think that Roman Wilson is not nearly the blocker that Ronnie Bell was, and he's in that role. And that's why Michigan's not getting those big explosive runs. It's certainly in Harbaugh's program. I'm telling you, he does like explosives as much as anybody else. It's just the explosives that his offense is supposed to generate have not been generating. We'll see if they do against Alabama, but it's just been a player thing. They just have not gotten those explosive blocks that normally spring, that are supposed to spring guys, and that's what they were getting last year. Now in the passing game, really the explosives only come if you are completely overplaying them. They do not use play action very well. They overset you up, and then they just want to get like a free shot downfield. I wish they would just give their receivers more opportunities to make plays, but when they've done that, the receivers haven't really made plays except for like Loveland.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but yeah, that's been a hole in the offense, and that's where you're talking about. That the Harbaugh way is not to throw the ball downfield and let your receiver go get it. He wants to scheme those open. And I wish he'd let JJ be a little bit more Harbaugh, because Harbaugh was good at finding those holes and chucking it downfield, and JJ seems to be good at that too. So we'll see.
Well, he definitely seems to be good at it. I mean, part of it is, have we not seen that just let it rip mindset from JJ as much as we wanted?
It's not
just
a mindset.
We didn't need it.
It's a preparation. Remember, we talked about this whole time. It's what are your reads? What are your priorities?
Yeah,
and especially against Iowa, Michigan's prioritizing those short passes. I think they were prioritizing
not turning the ball over. I mean, if you don't turn the ball over, you don't lose that game.
Right, and I don't think he missed opportunities that much against Ohio State. There was one that was screaming wide open, but most of the time he's not. I just don't think that they scheme those up. I think maybe we don't know Sharon Moore's sensibilities yet, and I think Sharon's probably not nearly where Harbaugh is. Harbaugh is an NFL quarterback. He knows about those shots. I don't think Sharon is the same way, and I think when Sharon is coaching, that's an in-game coaching thing where it actually does matter that your head coach is missing. But we don't know. Those are things we don't know. But it's more about your prioritizing, and that happens in practice, and that happens in game strategy and game planning, than it is about actually on the field. You're not like sometimes you do. Sometimes you're focused on trying to get a big long one, but that's more in the play action game. They just gotta be smart about play action. They overrun and they overset it up, and then you really have to capitalize when you run it instead of just using it to get your guys open. That's more of an Ohio State game complaint. But you see what their philosophy really is. Their philosophy is, let's see what their defense does and let's attack it. And against Iowa, they knew what they needed to win. And Michigan's strategy has always been, what do we need to do to win these games? So I have a feeling that when it comes to Alabama, they're going to have a different strategy that's more about beating Alabama Just like they had a strategy for beating Ohio State, they had a strategy for beating Penn State, and sometimes it doesn't look pretty, but they're playing the team in front of them, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's over the next few weeks, let's get into some more of what it's gonna take to beat Alabama. Maybe some of their tendencies, some of those things. Let's talk a little bit about them. But feels very good to be in a position where we expected to be here this year. 2.5 years ago, 3 years. Yeah, since first time since '97, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, it did, Brian wrote about this a little bit on the blog, but I mean, it felt like, just a sigh of relief. This year, it was like business as usual. It was kind of like when the Red Wings, didn't care all that much about winning the conference because that wasn't the ultimate goal. And let's see if we can win the ultimate goal this year. That's, I think that's where we're finally at. So.
All right, man, let's do it.
All right. Snake Seth, have a good one, man. Go Blue.
Yep.